Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Raphael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Regina, thank you so much for joining me on New Tip Daily. I am super excited to hear about your tips on speaking and anxiety and excitement, and wow, so much to deliver. So how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm so happy that you're excited because we're going to talk about how to turn speaking anxiety into positive excitement. So we're starting well here with you.
Yes, exactly. I am, anytime I get to have a conversation with an exceptional person like yourself, I am excited. My curiosity is always there. I want to know more. I want to know more about you, the tip that you have. So I just love to hear and take it away, my dear.
Well, that's something we have in common. I'm insatiably curious. I've
Mm.
always been like that, and that's probably also why I've lived in many places. And I constantly travel. I'm currently in France and just got here a few days ago. So curiosity is definitely my top leadership trait. So let's talk about this, right? So I definitely have a bunch of tools for this topic. As you know, I wrote a book about it actually, which is called Speak Up, Stand Out, and Shine, and it's on Amazon. But for today, I want to mainly focus on something that not a lot of people actually talk about, and that's how to prepare energetically for meetings, negotiations, presentations, whatever your speaking situation is, because there are many, many different speaking situations, right? And it's different for everybody. So yeah. And I know that you will get that concept right away and the value of this concept because, of course, you work with energy in your training practice, right? I mean, I'm sure you do, because how would you otherwise do it well? So you understand energy. I'm very sure of that. But not everybody does, because we don't talk about it often enough, especially in business, I believe at least. So oftentimes, Sifu Raphael, you know what? You probably heard this, right? It takes 7 seconds to make a first impression. Have you heard this before?
I think it's getting shorter. People's attention span is getting shorter nowadays. It might be 3.
And you're absolutely right, because in reality, it actually takes only 0.07 seconds for our brains to figure out whether we can trust someone. Isn't that amazing?
It is
Or
amazing.
surprising? And that's about our energy. We continuously communicate on an energetic level, whether we realize it or not, right? So we better be aware and use this to our advantage. Now, if you optimize your energy before a meeting, before a speaking gig, whatever it is for you, you will have an edge. It doesn't matter if your meeting is a negotiation, a team meeting, maybe a sales call, a job interview, a presentation, or whether you speak from a stage. It doesn't really matter. It's equally valuable in all these situations, because your energy matters in all those situations. You can never detach yourself from it, can you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, and it always speaks for you, whether we say something or whether you say something or you don't, right? And actually before you start speaking, because your energy speaks louder and faster than your words. And if your energy contradicts your words, your energy wins, most of the time at least. So energy has a significant role in trust building, in any trust building situation, really. It has a role in business presence, in leadership presence, executive presence, speaking presence. So focusing on our inner power energy, as I sometimes call it, helps us enhance our presence and raise our confidence at the same time when and if we need that. So it's not so much about the quantity, but about the quality of the energy, although the quantity of energy also is important, to a certain extent, right? The amount is also important. And, energy flows into everything we think, we say, we do. And as I just said, even our thoughts impact the people and the things around us. You know that.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that you also just mentioned about the energy, if a speaker, or whether you're doing a speaking engagement, you're doing a presentation, you're doing anything, if the energy is not correct, if it doesn't flow, if it doesn't engage the audience, and no matter what it is, you could be a teacher in a school. If you're not engaging your students, you could be running a presentation, you could be doing a meeting, you could be even asking a question. If you don't project that energy that you want back, how do you expect to even get any energy back, right? So when you give energy, you'll get energy.
Yes, absolutely. It's a give and take. It's an exchange in any of those situations. You mentioned teachers. Wow, they have my respect, because it's not easy to engage young people. And, especially because a lot of children, they are hyperactive. The school is not always exactly laid out for that. It's not prepared for that, for those different types of characters and personalities. Right. So yes, I do have a challenging job for sure, but we all do. And when we go in front of an audience, people are so overstimulated these days. They are very, very selective with what they give their time to. Yes, especially those people who are aware of the preciousness of time, right? And who pay attention to that. So we can optimize our energy to build trust more easily. Or, you could even say we alchemize our energy to a certain extent. But it's really just about focusing on our inner power energy for a few moments. And that's all we need to do. And we all have that inner power energy. It's not just for you or for me, right? It's for everybody has it. So what happens though is we're not always connected to it, because we sometimes forget to connect with it. And when we're not connected with it, then it's almost like we want to watch TV or use a gadget without plugging in the power cord. Our inner power cord is not plugged in.
Yes.
So I want to share a simple tool today, a simple exercise that can help all of us tap into our inner power energy. It's actually one of the tools that I mostly do. It's my favorite tool of all, including the ones in my book, where I offer more tools to also prepare mentally and physically and in other ways with tips and so on. But this is really one of my favorite tools, if not my favorite of all. And why is that? Well, because it also helps me enhance my perceived presence and makes me feel better, more confident at the same time. So it has this double effect, right? Especially in challenging situations. But it's really a good idea to do it before any speaking situations, maybe just, a phone call with your manager if you are an employee, for example. So is it okay to do that now?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited to hear what it is.
Yeah, let's do it. It's a simple exercise. I always say simple is good, because then we remember it and we actually do it. And once you've done this slowly with me, as we are going to do it right now, you can actually do it very, very fast, just by going right to the main focus and just staying there for a few seconds. So, it's the same with all these exercises that I share. Once we've done them and practiced them a few times, we can do them very fast, because sometimes we don't know that a speaking situation is going to come up. Sometimes we're just called into a meeting all of a sudden, right? Okay, so let's do this. So first of all, sit or stand, that's up to you, in a relaxed position. The shoulders relaxed and your feet firmly planted on the floor. And if it feels safe to you, then close your eyes. It's always a good idea. But if it doesn't feel safe for any reason, it's fine to just find a gazing spot in front of you. Why do we want to close our eyes if possible? Because during this type of technique, the visuals around us can distract us, and that's not always useful. Okay. All right. So, one other thing for sure. Definitely don't close your eyes if you're listening to this driving, right? All these,
I'm not driving, so I am going to keep my eyes closed.
right, driving or handling a sharp knife, not a good idea. Okay, so eyes closed again if you can. And so first, let's just get fully present in our body and take a couple of deep belly breaths, deeply into your belly. It's okay to stick the belly out. Inhale and exhale. And again, inhale and exhale. And feel your body from the inside out, all the way to your toes and the tips of your fingers and to the top of your head. And again, just remember to relax your shoulders and then relax your entire body as much as possible. And now let's focus on the energy in your solar plexus area. It's around the stomach area, right? This is the area where most people can find confidence in their body the easiest. So take a moment to breathe into this area. Maybe place one or two hands on it and allow your diaphragm to support you while breathing. And then focus on this area with your breath and in your mind. Because as you know, what you focus on expands. So as you focus on your inner power, it will expand. It won't have a choice. And now move this power energy up to your heart area and from there through your throat area, important area for speakers, right? And then bring the energy all the way to the top of your head and out through the top of your head. And now imagine surrounding yourself with this power energy to enhance your energetic presence even more. Surrounding yourself all the way down to the floor and in all directions as far as your arms can reach with this energy bubble, this imaginary bubble. Because where attention goes, your energy flows. So you're filling this bubble with your energy and you're actually containing it around you rather than just wasting it by, letting it disperse into nowhere. So allow this energy to flow and fill the bubble around you. Okay. So I really invite you and all our listeners to experiment with this. Before your next meeting, your phone call, broadcast, your podcast interview, your broadcast, so presentation, whatever it is for you, do this exercise and see what happens. How does it change how you feel?
Feel energized.
More expansive, more confident. For everybody it's a bit different, maybe more relaxed, and definitely open your eyes if they are still closed now. But how was it for you?
I got to be honest with you. I love to meditate, so it just brought me. And you talked about internalizing, understanding, feeling, and that's what meditation to me is. So it's very meditative, but then you're also talking about energy. Where's the energy coming from? Using your diaphragm and then bringing it up from your solar plexus to your heart, to your throat, and to the top of the head, so that energy is coming through you, and that you can't contain the energy. You have to let it out. So I love this exercise. Thank you. That was great.
Yeah, and it's very simple and it has a great effect. I know it because I've tried it. I've used it many times. And because my clients also have experimented with it and they did notice a difference. So it's really, really, even if you are not as connected to the concept of using energy as we two are maybe, you just experiment with it because you will observe. I'm pretty sure you will observe a change, even if it's just more calmness, right?
Yeah.
And the deep breathing always helps as well.
Yeah.
So
what happens when somebody is, let's say you're in, and I was in the audience yesterday. I was at an event, and it was a fun event, and they were handing out mics, and all of a sudden somebody said, I want to get up there. I want to get up there. They had so much energy, and they actually got called up, and all of a sudden they closed up.
Yeah.
And so they had this energy. They thought they were ready to speak, and then the microphone got in their face, and all of a sudden they're like, and then they quieted
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
they felt overwhelmed. And usually when somebody's put on the spot, that's what happens to them. They feel overwhelmed. So what's your tip to help somebody who is overwhelmed when they thought they were ready?
Yes, that happens a lot, right? We
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we think we are prepared, but then all of a sudden we are there. So what definitely happens is to not speak immediately, not feel the pressure, not put yourself under so much pressure to speak immediately, because actually a pause can have much greater effect on the audience. It can call them toward you and give you that attention from the audience. And when you stand there and you make sure you stand balanced on your 2 feet, not crossing your feet, because that's also the other thing. A lot of people end up crossing their feet or legs when they stand there, and that doesn't look powerful at all, and it certainly doesn't feel powerful. So just really make sure you stand in balance and you take a really deep breath.
Yeah.
And then for a moment, you just say something that is truly important of what you wanted to say, and not 1,000 things, maybe. What is the central thought that you wanted to share? Or you could kick it off with a question, because that's also a really great hook to engage your audience, right? And maybe that also brings you out of your shell a little bit, because now it's the audience's turn to focus, right? What did she or he just ask me? So that takes the focus a little bit away from your nerves. Also, one other thing, and this is just in general, maybe not specifically to this situation, but just really, it always helps to shift your focus away from you and your speaking anxiety toward your audience and how your content will serve them. Because find maybe that sometimes you're just going to find that friendly face in the audience. Somebody who supports you.
Right.
It really depends on how big the audience is, because sometimes we are too far away, right? On a big stage, we can't really see the individual faces, but we can still focus on one spot and find it there in an imaginary way. Okay? So I find really just the pause and the breath can help a lot in that situation.
Oh, without a doubt. I love the fact that you're talking about grounding, right? Every time, even when you did the meditation, close your eyes, make sure your feet are grounded. Even if you're on the 10th floor, you're still grounding, because once you connect to the 10th, let's say you're on the 10th floor of a building, that 10th floor is grounded, right? Even though it's not on the ground necessarily, you're 10 feet, 10 flights up. But once you connect both feet, you are grounded. And then the other, if I can add to what happens when you put on the spot, sometimes if you just, you go, it kind of tells somebody it's coming, it's generating, and I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. So I teach public speaking to children as well. And one of the things that I'm always having them engaged. And then one of the things is I call on them randomly. And in the beginning, before they start to learn all the different skills, I call on them. They're like, me? So that's one of the funniest things that I ever see. And I'm like, yes, you, because what you have to say is important. But I don't want to
Yes.
say anything. I'm like, we asked the question and you already answered it. Whether you did it verbally or not, you've already answered the question. So that then I turn around and I go, did you listen to the question? They shake their head yes. And I said, so you've already answered it. Whether it's right or wrong, you have the answer. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, but you need to answer, right? You need to verbalize the answer that you've already internalized the answer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love the gesture too. It's really cool. And you know what? Something else, if people know that they get nervous, there's another tool in the book. We can't do them all here because it also takes a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but there's another tool in the book that you can use to literally anchor and trigger a feeling of confidence. And once you have practiced this and once you've done it before and you have used it often so that it stays active, you can do it within a matter of a second with a hand gesture and bring it back because it's now stored in your muscle memory.
Yeah.
There are many, many ways to even get prepared for those situations. If you already know that sometimes you struggle with those butterflies in your stomach getting too wild, you know. So yeah.
Absolutely. So Regina, I have your website here, transformyourperformance.com. Everybody, you want to follow Regina, go to her website. I am sure you have tons of information on there that people can get to know more. They can follow you, they can sign up with you, right? And then they could probably pick up your book, which I can't wait to read. It's going to be an exceptional read. I know it. And thank you for the tips today. I think that just the grounding alone, if we can do that one thing and we can say, I may not have the right answer, but I have an answer. And then let me just share it.
Yeah. Who's to judge whether it's right or wrong anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We sometimes think we are seeing facts when later we discover they're not really facts.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I think, yes, oftentimes it's not right or wrong. We're educated into this concept at school that there's only one right answer, but that's not really true.
That's it. There are so many different ways to look at something, right?
Yeah.
That there may be different ways, different answers. I mean, 2 plus 2 usually is 4, unless you look at it differently. And but I will say it's 4. That's my answer.
Yeah. I take that.
Regina, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for being on New Tip Daily. Great tips. Everybody, do me a favor, follow my good friend Regina. I'm going to put the website on the ticker here again, transformyourperformance.com. She is an exceptional coach. She is a world renowned, literally, she's gone all over the world. She's in Paris now, in France. And you never know, she might be in your hometown soon. So thank you again for being here today. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you so, so much. And I look forward to seeing you all somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, everybody, enjoy. Do me a favor. If you like the show, subscribe to it, like it, share it, tell your friends, tell your loved ones. And if you know somebody who is a manager and they have to do meetings, talks, anybody who's even thinking of becoming a public speaker, pick up Regina's book. Listen to this podcast again. Share it with them. Thank you. Have yourself an
Thank you.
exceptional day.
And you do the same. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.